Hey, what is up, stream? It's Kingdom, and I got a special guest on the 1v1 today. I've got Parasite currently from Prophecy. Who knows what'll happen in the future. Parasite, you want to say hello?
Yeah, what's up, stream? How you guys doing? Today I'm going to answer some questions and do this little interview with Kingdom before my league matches. So I hope you guys enjoy.
All right, so we're gonna make this fast. Those of you that are noticing down in the left-hand corner of the stream overlay, I just announced yesterday on the STiKS that we are sponsored by Scuff Gaming. That's pretty dope, and we will have a code in the future. I got to talk with them this weekend. We'll have a discount code and all that kind of stuff for you guys. So I'm gonna get right into it. Parasite, you guys were you weren't doing as well as you did last week in the league, and I think were you guys sixth before this week started?
Yeah, I think we were sixth and we were on like a four loss. No, I want to say 3 or 4 loss streak.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of kicked up and now we're on a 6 win streak. So I don't know how that happens, but I mean, it happened.
So you also, I mean, in that 6 win streak, you beat OpTic, and they were the only team you took to game five. Every other team was a 3-1 or a 3-0, including TK, Denial, Rise, Envy, and you also finished, I think, top two in KD, right behind Enable. You were like 1.26, and he was 1.27
For the week, or
for the
something?
week. Yeah,
Oh, wow. I
for the week.
didn't even know that.
They
That's
announced it
dope.
on the ESR today. It was pretty dope. So, did anything change? One of the questions they had on ESR, they interviewed Fears, and it was kind of like you made it evident that you didn't really potentially want to team with these guys going forward. Did anything change in your team chemistry? Did your communication change, or was it actually inspiring to them that you might not want to play with them? Like, what happened that turned things up for you
Well,
guys?
coming from Orlando and having a poor showing there, you probably already know this or hear this a lot, but like I pretty much played like out of my mind for the most part at the event,
Yeah,
and my teammates really slacked. So I think coming to the league, coming back home, they kind of felt like they needed to step it up because of their poor showing at Orlando. So I think that's what they've been doing, and they've really been focused on trying to get better and pick up their game individually, considering they played bad at Orlando.
yeah,
So that's probably what's helped. On top of that, I mean, granted, I've expressed feelings of not wanting to play with a specific roster for champs and moving forward. I don't think it's like changed much because we both understand that pending these roster changes and stuff like that, we don't want to waste our time and pass the league and just it's kind of pointless. You want to go as hard as you can and practice
yeah.
and play your best. So that I mean, it's experience. It's still practice, regardless of this being your roster or not. You don't want to waste time by passing league matches because this isn't your team.
Well, you guys aren't, you guys are actually playing at the top of everyone's game right now. I mean, to go 6-0, that was better than everyone else's league record in the league. And there's a lot of teams that had the same discussions last week, like Just and Denial, that went 1-3 last week. So they played the exact opposite of you. The conversation of roster changes for them had a negative effect. So I think it's pretty cool that you guys were able to just stick it out and say, we're going to do our best no matter what. And although everybody thought that 1 and 2 in the league were going to stay that way for the whole season, you guys could definitely move into that second spot. And maybe, according to Mr. X, that you guys are, what did he say? Crim taking a vacation away from first place. So
Oh yeah,
maybe that's an opportunity.
pretty much. Not gonna bullshit around now. Obviously, the fact that Krim didn't play in those league matches was a big factor because usually when Krim plays, he puts the whooping on our team. But he didn't play, so we took advantage of it, and I mean we beat them off their win streak. Granted, it wasn't their actual team.
Yeah, there's plenty of teams that Crim puts a whooping on. All right, so
Yep.
shout out to the unknown Poner for subscribing to the channel. Thank you very much. Welcome to the STiKS fam. So I'm gonna jump right into these questions from Twitter so that I don't miss some of them. So the first one, number one, is from Carnage Josh. He's actually a part of the STiKS family, and he asks, of the original Impact Champs team, who is your favorite teammate and why?
Probably Mir, considering he's not as like he doesn't confront me as much as the other two did. And second would be Damon because well, I just kind of let him do his own thing and it worked. I never really was confrontational with him because I never felt like he really did anything wrong. And then least favorite would obviously be Adam. Well, not because he's like I don't like him. I love Adam. He's fucking hilarious, and I'm really good friends with him.
Uh-huh.
It's more of just in game, like confrontation that we have. It's just like it's really stressful, and it just like it gets you that like right in the freaking head, just like every day. That little stress. Uh,
Yeah, you guys have like a love-hate relationship.
yeah.
Thank you, I am Diane, as well, for subscribing to the channel. Or I am Dane. I don't know how to say your name, but thank you, however you say it. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. So the second question, number two, is from Carnage Josh as well, and it is: How has excluding being involved in champs last year, playing in champs last year, has it increased your drive to make sure that you do your best this year in champs?
Yeah, I mean, you can say it did that, but going into champs, or from Ghost, regionals, all that stuff, I really wasn't ever confident in like not even my team, just in that game. Like I always felt it was very fluky, and no matter how well I played or the steps I took to play as well as I can in that game, it just felt like it was a very inconsistent, very like fluky game, and I just like I never felt in control
Yeah,
of the situations and in the game. Like no matter how well you'd play, there's always some little thing that could go wrong that you honestly couldn't control because that's how domination and blitz were. While games like Black
yeah,
Ops 2 and this game, having a plethora of game modes, uplink and CTF, which are very much organized and you can single handedly kind of just control the game by playing a certain way.
yeah.
It just makes this game a lot less stressful and a lot easier on my mind, at least going into champs. And I think we should have a problem qualifying, considering there's a crap ton of teams that are going to qualify this year. I think there's like 24 teams go to regionals, 14 go to champs from
Wow.
regionals. So that's a lot of teams. But on top of that, I feel like I'm a lot better at this game than I was at Ghost, and I feel a lot more in control when I play this game compared to Ghost. So I'm
Cool.
really happy about that.
Awesome. All right, number 12. Question number 12 is just or wait. Yeah, just want to say congrats for losing so much weight. This is from Pop Tarts at V Pop Tarts. He said congrats to you for losing so much weight and he wants me to ask you how you did it.
Well, pretty much when I went to the Envy house, me and Ant got on this, Ant being nameless, we got on the gym grind. He was looking to get back into it. And unfortunately, his was cut short due to an arm injury for
Uh
that. But I kept going because obviously I needed it. Um, I was about I was at about 340 pounds. That's a lot of
wow.
weight.
Yeah.
Going like looking back on it and looking at pictures of myself from Niagara, which is even crazier because at Niagara I had already lost 10 pounds by then. So I was bigger. Like that just blows my mind. Like looking back at myself, I was in like a state of like emergency, man. Like I was at the
Yeah.
point of no turning back.
Uh-huh.
And luckily I started going to the gym and working out, and also eating right. I mean, that's a big part of it. I started eating healthy. I started eating out less, or yeah, eating out less. Uh, Made sure that I didn't drink much soda. If it was soda, I drank diet, considering it didn't have any sugar or calories in it.
Hmm.
And I stayed consistent with the gym workout. I made sure that I went every day for at least an hour. I made sure I got my cardio in and my also my muscular workouts in, my lifting.
Yeah.
And the biggest part was being consistent and eating right. Like if I didn't eat correctly and I still went to the gym and all that stuff, I wouldn't have made nearly as much progress as I did. Which, if you guys didn't know, I lost 70 pounds in about the span of 7 months. I've been slacking lately, considering this game came out and I've just been playing a crap ton tournaments,
Yeah.
league matches, just making sure I'm on top of my game for champs and stuff like that. But I mean, that's no excuse. I want to get back to the grind as fast as I possibly can because I don't want to lose any of the progress I've made.
Did anybody help you? Like, one of the problems that I find when people try to get on that type of a grind is like eating right and working out consistently is holding themselves accountable. Did anybody help you through that? Like, was there anybody that kind of said that encouraged you or made sure you were going to the gym or you were eating right or called you out if you didn't eat right or anything like that? Or was it
Oh
just,
yeah, Nameless. Like if you know Nameless, he's a very joking person. He's very confrontational, and he just like loves messing with people. So like whenever I would like screw up on my diet or anything like that, he would just be like, "Peggy, what are you doing?" Or dude, and then the worst would be like when we'd be in a Skype call with all the other pros or friends and stuff like that, he'd be like, "Oh, dude, you guys have no idea. Peggy just ate like that just like kept bugging me. I'm like, dude, shut up. So I just tried to like avoid it as much as possible. And
uh,
he was 100% a big reason as to why I made the progress that I did today, and so was Hastro because and Rambo when Rambo was at the house, they all motivated me to keep going, and they just kept giving me props and stuff like that when it came to working out and losing weight. And on top of that, the community, like whenever I would like tweet out that I was going to the gym or that I've lost, so and so pounds, like
Yeah.
there'd be a lot of supporters, but then again, there'd be a lot of haters. So the haters you'd want to prove wrong and you want to keep going. And then the people that motivate you, you kind of want to keep doing it because they really care about you and they really like seeing the progress you make.
It's awesome. It's awesome. All right, one more question before we go to our first commercial break, and it is from Shadow Z EXE, Shadow Zex. I don't know, and it says, "Who do you think is the best up and coming young player?"
It's gonna have to go to TJ or Hugh. Both those guys are freaking insane at this game. Like when I play S&D, like tournaments, or when I play S&D in general, and I have to play versus them, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a competition. I like no offense to most pros, but whenever I play S&D, I'm just like, oh, this should be easy, dude. Like
Yeah,
all pros are like easy reads, but whenever I play those guys, like no matter how hard I try, they're so good that like I'll think I know what they're doing, and they just completely do the opposite. I'm just like, well then, I f***ed up. And like they're just really good, man. Like in Search and Destroy and Uplink,
yeah.
they're just really talented players. And when we're all old and shriveled up, they're going to be on top of their game and stress.
I actually saw. I think it was either Envy or Optic that was playing against Hugh when he was subbing. I think it was for FaZe, and they said they recorded his nade spot because they were like, man, I didn't know Hook was a nerd like this. Like he shot a nade from spawn and killed somebody. I mean, it was on Biolab, and he shot it like across the map, and they were like,
Yeah, yeah,
okay, I got to record that. And I think that there's a little bit of grind that goes into these young guys, but then also, like you said, they're unpredictable. Like they haven't been around long
yeah.
enough to be predictable. So you
They
got
they remind me of like I'm not like I don't want this to sound egotistical, but they remind me of my old self back in COD 4 when I was in like middle school, going into high school.
yeah,
Like Call of Duty 4 was a game known for nade spots and stuff like that because nades were so powerful and in domination, you'd like look up into the sky and throw nades.
yep.
And I kid you not, when I was a kid, I'd wake up early and I'd have time to kill before school. I'd have an hour before I had to go to school, right? So I would sit in a lobby, a private match when nobody was on, and just look for the nerdiest possible grenade throws you'll like ever see. I had spots where I'd line up a freaking leaf with the sky and the clouds, throw a nade, and land it through a crack in the wall and get a kill in a freaking like flag
Wow.
or something. Yeah, like completely nerdy stuff like that. So they kind of remind me of like of myself, when I was young, and it's pretty awesome to be honest.
Yeah, it is, and I think that's what a lot of people have been asking me, like, why are these young players, what is going on with Call of Duty? Why are there so many good teams? And it's like, well, just like YouTube, low key, old back in the day, it was so small. It was like this tiny community. It was like if you weren't Hutch or CNanners or Woody's Gamer Tag, or Wings of Redemption, it was like you didn't have a lot of subs, but you were on YouTube or Grizz maybe. But it's expanded so much to where now there's so many large channels. And the same thing has happened to Call of Duty. It's like you guys have made it look like a viable option for a career, for something to spend your time doing, especially with champs. And so all these young players have sat there doing exactly what you just said, sitting in their room when nobody else is around, practicing, finding nerd spots, and
Oh yeah.
they
Sorry to
go ahead.
interrupt, but
No,
while
go
we're
ahead.
on that topic of making this into a viable career, like I honestly kind of find it that it's a joke at this point because I mean, with our scene growing as much as it has and being as big as it is now,
Yeah.
obviously thanks to players like Nate Shot and Optic in general, I think it's just a joke that we still have events for like 25K where the payout is like 2,500 for first when I can sit at home at like a way that Killa perfectly explained. I think I was talking to him yesterday, and he
Hmm.
said they got like fourth one event or something, or it was Nameless. Nameless got like fifth at Columbus.
Hmm.
Land event. We're the fifth. They're the considered the fifth best team in the world at the time, placing fifth, obviously.
Yeah.
And they made $200 each. Guess what? Last night I won a 44 variant tournament at home. Guess what I made? $200 each. Like that is honestly a joke in my opinion. And on top
Hmm.
of that, the fact that our biggest tournament of the year, granted it's $1 million prize pool,
Yeah.
while there's Smite who's having their first
Oh yeah.
huge tournament of the year in
A
ever,
million
and theirs
dollars.
is like 10 mil. Like what? come on, man. Like, you want us to grow, but you're not putting any effort into growing your actual sport. I just don't think they realize the potential that um COD esports can, become. And
Yeah,
I just kind of find it a joke that we're considered professional Call of Duty players, and this is considered our job when it's a complete joke.
it's
You
like
know,
you don't get paid like what?
no,
Yeah, you
not
look at the
nearly.
other
There's
esports,
like
you're kind of like,
there's
dang.
there's like two players, three players that are actually making a viable living, and it's not even because of Call of Duty esports itself. It's because of YouTube.
And streaming, yeah, it's YouTube and
So
streaming.
we are not professional Call of Duty players. This is not a profession. This is not a livelihood. Like, they are professional entertainers, YouTubers,
Yeah,
Call of Duty players. Professional should be. You're not professional because of you're making a living. You're professional because of your skill. So I think that needs to change because
that's a good point. Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good
I
point.
think that needs to change a lot because top eight does not mean this is your living. Top eight means that you've placed top eight. You're a professional COD player because of your skill, not because of your making a living off it. Because I'll tell you now, if I place top eight every event, I will not be doing this for a living. I will not be doing this full time. Period.
No, that's a good point, and I think that young guys that are looking to get into the scene need to take that under consideration. Is that, that word? It's not for everyone, and I try to tell people that when they try to put everything, all their money into buying the best computer, the best streaming equipment, and everything, and they piss their parents off because they're told not to do this, not to do that, and they go crazy, and then they get mad when they just don't do as well, and then the
No,
number one question is, how do I get better? How do I get better? How do I get better? And that
people have it twisted. Right now, you're not going to make a living off being a highly skilled player. Like, you can be highly skilled and not liked by the community, or not an entertaining person. You could be a total, monotone person, but if you're
yeah.
good at the game in, let's say League, or if you're good at the game in, let's say, CS:GO, or other things, you'll be a professional. You'll make some sort of money. You'll make enough, right? In this
Yeah,
community,
that's
if you
true.
do that, you're not making anything.
You
You could
have
be
to
as good as you
entertain
freaking
people.
want. You have to be an entertainer,
Yeah.
and I think that's kind of wrong in a lot of ways. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being an entertainer. By all means, it's awesome that you put on a show and people enjoy watching you for you. But
Yeah.
in my opinion, you should be rewarded for your
For your
skill.
skill. Yeah.
And I think the companies and Activision and all these people need to invest more into actually making this a professional Call of Duty league and not a professional entertainers league.
Good point. Well, I'll let that simmer with you guys while we take our first commercial break. We'll come back. We got a couple more questions for Parasite before he gets going to league matches. We'll see you guys on the other side of 30 seconds. Peace. All right, welcome back, guys. I don't know what's going on. Twitch is having some issues, so we weren't able to run a commercial. So even if you didn't have ad block, you just saw the hold screen for the sticks. So I'm going to ask Parasite a couple more questions because he's got to get to league matches in 10 minutes with Prophecy. So the next question, Parasite, is from Based God Vortex. And this question is, and every single person, every time we do any show, we get this question. What is your God squad, and you cannot use yourself or your current teammates?
Oh, if, that's an easy one. I mean, you put. Let's just look at OpTic for example. No, but in all honesty, I think OpTic's a really good team, mainly because I don't think anyone's beating them the hard point. I don't think anyone's beating them a hard point. Period. Unless you really shut down one of those three Slayers, you're not beating them in hard point.
Yeah,
And but their weakness is search and destroy, CTF, and uplink. Uplink they're really good at, but if they're still beatable on it just because of the way the game mode is played. CTF it's the same thing. It's very organized, structured. That being the best Slayer isn't necessarily going to win you the game. And
yeah.
same with search and destroy. I mean, I beat them in search and destroy at pretty much almost every event I played.
Hmm.
So um, in my opinion, a God Squad, in terms of all game modes, and just being an overall well balanced team,
Yep.
in my opinion, would be. I'd put Karim on there. He's well balanced. I'd put Karma on there.
Hmm.
I'd put. I want to say. This is where it gets really
Yeah,
tricky. I'd put Teep on there too. Teep's really good. Like that EG squad was.
that good.
That old EG squad was pretty much as close to a god squad as you're going to get. The really thing that screwed them over was their personalities colliding and egos and stuff like that. But Krim, Teep, and Karma,
Would
and
you have formal or aches?
I have four more aches.
Or neither?
Hmm. I don't know. Like I honestly like having Formal on there would actually been pretty good for them because Formal's a very mellow player. He
Yeah,
wouldn't collide with any of them, and then Krim would be the ego, just like running the show, which he
yep,
kind of tries to do. And
yep,
even now with the OpTic team, you see him and Nade kind of just
yeah.
like
Vying
go
each
at
other out.
it,
Yeah,
fight every once in a while. So like there's no perfect team, man. Like every team's gonna have their structures, their problems. Like even if I put that team together, like I guarantee something would come up at
yeah,
some
yeah,
point.
yeah, yeah.
But like
It will.
just I don't know. I think that'd be a good team. Just Crim, Teep, Karma, and just throw anybody in there that's got talent. Intelligence is just kind of mellow, and you'll get a good team out of that,
Well
considering
then,
they wouldn't collide.
let me piggyback on that question then. So this current Optic team, Krim said specifically that he felt disrespected the entire time he played with Aches, but he just quieted himself for the sake of winning because they just kept winning. So he almost said, "Who cares?" Now, when it got towards the end of the EG reign, when Aches really didn't care about playing, and it was actually like no practice, no scrimming, and it was affecting the team, he started to speak up, but. I've seen exactly what you're talking about. Him and Nade kind of, it's like the little tiny power struggle. Like Krim will complain about
Oh,
something,
it's
and
just it's only when they lose though. It's only when
yeah,
they lose.
well, and you tweeted about it. You tweeted about how you like not only to know yourself that your teammate made a mistake, but you want your teammate to admit that they made a mistake. And I think Crimmins has been the same way with Nade. He's like, I don't want to just say that Nade was calling out too much in S&D. I want him to acknowledge and agree with me that he was calling out too much. How far do you think this team can go? Like if they're able to just deal with that power struggle, can they be as successful as everybody's predicting? Or
I honestly think that they will be a very successful team in this game, and unless roster changes are made, no one's going to compete with them. Because I'll tell you right now, if a teams are trying to do the wrong thing, every other team is trying to formulate a team that can test them in slaying. I'm telling you right now, with the leftovers of that team that are left, no one is going to contest them in hardpoint. Period. No, it may be denial, maybe, but
yeah,
but not consistently. You're not going to consistently beat that team in hardpoint. Period.
yeah,
They have the three best slayers in the game. No contest. If you try to argue that, you're literally just stupid. Like, like how are you going to say like you can go matchups versus any team?
yeah,
Like let's put denial there for a second because anyone with a brain will say they have the next best slaying team.
yeah.
You go Krim versus let's say Zuma. Cause no, let's go Scump versus Zuma.
Hmm.
Okay, Zuma's got the upper hand on him in search. Scump is gonna beat him in respawn
Yeah.
every time. They're like kind of evenly matched in my opinion, right?
Hmm.
And then you put Attach versus Formal. So Attach is very reaction time based, but Formal has a lot more experience from other games, so he's going to outplay Attach most of the time.
Hmm.
Attach is more gun skill based. And then you put Krim versus Saints because, everyone makes that comparison. Everyone's been making that same comparison since Ghost.
Yeah.
Krim versus Saints. Krim is 1,000 times smarter than Renato. Renato and him have almost the same gun skill.
Yeah.
Like it's still completely unmatched, dude. Like you're not gonna beat them in hardpoint, at least consistently.
So did
But
you go ahead?
when formulating a team that can, beat them or contest them, you need to formulate a team that's going to beat them in search and destroy because that's their weak mode. And then you want a team that can contest them in the other two objective based game modes. You don't want a team that's going to try to contest them in the slaying department because it's not going to happen.
So it's
So
almost like just don't even try.
it's don't even try at this point. Just literally just stick to their weaknesses. Stop trying to contest them in
Hmm.
their strengths. You don't beat something by fighting it head on. You beat something by attacking its weaknesses. I mean, plain and simple. It's
So you're saying
it's
like
common sense.
so you're saying
Yeah.
be comfortable with potentially losing game
Be
one
comfortable with
and
potentially
winning
losing
game
game
two and
one.
three.
Game one is not. It's one game mode of a best of five.
That's true.
You
Yeah.
have two search and destroys in there, and you have an uplink and a CTF, which are very similar into the way you play them with getting cuts and pushing the objective forward.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
you're that's why like I never really understood these roster changes that people are trying to make God squads. You're not gonna freaking win with a God squad. You're not. There's no God squad, dude. Like even OpTic's not a God squad. An OpTic would be a God squad if they could win every game mode consistently 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0 every team. Like they're not even a God squad. You got to acknowledge what they're weak at. In my opinion, granted that team's potential, the way I see it is they're only going to be so good at search, no matter how much they try to improve. Like just because of the way the players on that team think, and just the way the players on that team have um been like not made, but I'm trying to explain. Like
No, I
I don't know.
understand. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like Nade will be good at search because he's always been a search
that's
player.
what he's done from
And
the
then
beginning.
Formal will be good situationally at search. Like if he's in a 1v1 gunfight, he's probably going to win it. But his thought process isn't like nearly as advanced as,
Yeah,
let's say, other players that have played search and destroy for so much. Like if I was playing search and destroy, you know, I would take Ricky over, let's say, Formal, Scump,
so
even
for an
Nade.
S
Like I
League
would,
tournament, you would pick.
yeah, I would pick Ricky. Granted, Ricky isn't like the most amazing player in respawn. I'm
Yeah.
taking him in search every single time, and I probably win those search and destroy tournaments with him. Like it's just the way it is, man. Like every player is always going to have its weaknesses, and no one's going to be the perfect player. No one's going to be the clean cut best at everything. It's not even possible. There's no
So
way.
do you? So well, we don't even have time to get into it, but it's interesting everything you're saying because I wonder if that's kind of what Denial thought about, like whatever they were trying to build, and I'm sure there's still nobody's going to know until this all mulls over what's going to happen. I know you're being looked at by a lot of teams probably because of your search skill. It's kind of not arguable that you figured out search in this game, and you're one of the best players in it. And so, the last question I have for you, as I can see you're picking up your sticks to get ready to play, is from your brother, and he asks, "When are we going to play a tournament together?"
Oh man. When he places, I'll play a tournament with him when he places top 8 one day.
All right. When he
It's
places
not
top.
even because I don't think he's good. It's more or less the fact that I want him to get there on his own if he truly wants to be there because I did it with no help,
Yeah.
and I don't feel like giving him a shortcut. Like it's not the way you're. If you want to become the best, man, there's no shortcuts. You do it yourself.
All right, and here's the 1v1 question. I told you about this at the beginning. If you were in a 1v1 uplink versus apathy, who would win?
Oh, me, 100%. What? What? Come on. Oh, give me a better challenge than that. Uplink, bruh. Like God, granted he can outgun me every once in a while. I'm just gonna fuck with him. I'm gonna throw the ball on top of the roof for 15 seconds and let it sit there. Like, come on, man. 1v1 uplink. Oh, that fool will get balled up. I
All
got, I
right.
got I got my Nike. Hold up. Hold up. Let me see something real quick. Let me look at the camera real quick. Watch this. Look. I got my Nike socks on right now, and I got sandals on. I'm ready to ball some fools up. Look at that.
Oh, my
In
gosh.
case anyone want to fuck around and get dunked on in slippers.
All right. Thank you, Parasite, for coming on. Thanks for answering the questions. Thank you, chat, and all 700 whenever you that showed up. Have a good time in league matches tonight. Good luck this week. Hope you do as well as you did last week. And make sure you guys check out our shirts. We'll put a link for them in the description. Probably show something on stream. This is your boy, Kingdom Soldier, and currently Prof Parasite. We'll see you guys next
See
time.
you guys. Have a good one.
Peace.
Peace.